All right, guys, what is going on? What is good? What is good? Hopefully you guys have had a good week. Hopefully you did. If you did not, I don't know, you're fired. If you learned something, then you've probably had a good week. You know what I'm saying? There's always a lesson in the loss, you know? And that is going to be sort of one of the main ideas for today's Philosophical Friday. There's really not a lot that I like about today. For price action today, I don't like any of this. I don't like this at all. I think this is cheeks. I think Friday, September 12th is a day that should not be traded. So that's just me. That is just me personally. So, what's good? Eric, Sean, Edmundo, Naruto, Capitalist, Ibrahim, Harmon, Felix, Cameron, 2020. Are we a little bit light today on viewership? What's going on? What is going on, man? Are we light on Philosophical Friday? Man, that's not good. Although that is pretty fitting for the discussion we're about to have. Which is not good. That is not actually good. But we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Okay. So I'm sure a lot of you have been on social media the last couple of days and you've seen a lot of what's been happening, right? Y'all know what happened with Charlie Kirk? Y'all know he was assassinated the other day, right? So obviously that's what's been all over social media, and it's been, you know, on all of the news feeds and stuff. And personally, I've stayed away a lot from social media the last couple of days. You know, just because everybody's talking about the same stuff and sharing their opinions, and of course the conspiracy theories come out and all this stuff, and it's like it's I don't know, just very redundant and very, I don't know, man. I think what bothers me the most is the people that are celebrating it, and a lot of these people that have no regard for human life. That I think is pretty bonkers, especially for someone who mostly, you know, tried to put out good values, right? To have discourse, stuff like, I'll actually open the chat today. You know, I don't know much about the guy, honestly. You know, I really don't know a lot other than the clips that I've seen over the years. But from my understanding, he was somebody that was good, Fernando, that he went around to colleges, to have discourse with people who were, willing to have discourse, ask questions, whatever, which I think is dope. I think that's really cool. I think the guy did a lot of debates and stuff too. Again, it's cool. So my whole thing is, I've been an educator for a long time, right? I've been a student for a very long time. I'm still a student, right? So when it comes down to some of these first principles, some of these basic principles, okay? When it comes to how to live life, right? And again, it's Philosophical Friday. We might get a little bit deep today. If you don't want to be here, then it's fine. I don't have a lot for price action today, so there's really not much, to it, right? This idea of philosophy, right? The love of wisdom. People have been contemplating how to live a good life for thousands of years. And that's always the question, right? How can I live a good life? How can I live a better life? And it goes all the way back to like Socrates, Plato, Aristotle. There's hundreds of, probably thousands of, famous philosophers all throughout history, okay? So the interesting thing about, I guess, humanity is things really don't change. They had wisdom back then, they had fools back then. Even in today's world, same thing. You have people that are fairly wise and you have people that are fools. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing in politics, right? You had people like Nero, right? Really terrible leaders, and you had some pretty good leaders too. There's nothing new under the sun in Ecclesiastes, right? So here's how I see things, okay? At least in the United States. The US was founded, right? We had founding fathers. And the founding fathers, some of them were Christian, some of them weren't, right? A lot of them read other philosophers, Cicero, some of the Stoics, so on and so forth. And so we may not necessarily be a Christian nation, but the US was founded on a lot of Christian values. Okay? And what it looks like, and again, this is just my perspective, what it looks like is there's a big group of people that actively want to improve themselves. They read, they study, they're curious, they ask questions, right? They admit their mistakes and they want to become better, right? So you have this group of people. And then you have another group of people that are the opposite. They don't, find a way to live a better life. They don't find a way to think better, do better, stuff like that. And when you have 2 or 3 different groups of people that basically coexist, right? There's going to be a lot of conflict. And that's exactly what happens in politics, which is why politics is nasty. I don't even myself, I don't vote. I don't get into politics because to me it's just all garbage, right? But even then, a lot of what's going on in the world affects all of us, right? So here's kind of some of the notes that I have for you. And it's not structured very well because I just put this together like an hour ago. So you'll have to forgive me. But let me give you some thoughts here. When I founded Smart Money Stoics, right? Y'all already know I put 2 things together. Smart money concepts and Stoic philosophy together, right? So that idea is supposed to be where We want to trade like smart money, right? Manipulation and, inversions, framework, all the stuff that I teach you on this channel. There's over 1,000 videos, right? All this stuff. Entry models, yada, 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 targets, XYZ. And in doing so, right, trading is not just technical analysis, but there's also the execution side, right? So that's where Stoic philosophy comes in, to be like the rock that the waves crash over and fall still around, not to be angry and revenge trade, focused on like higher time frames and the long-term perspective instead of like the short-term, stuff like that. And for the most part, it seems to be working pretty well. I'm doing well. A lot of you guys are doing well. Things are on a wonderful course. You know what I mean? But part of that, right? Part of being a Stoic, as an example, or a philosopher, or a Christian, either way, in every school of thought, the idea has always been, there's a Japanese word, I think it's ikigai, right? Continuous improvement. So what I've noticed generally, and this is with because this is just with people in general, right? It's not just traders, but especially in trading and in the world today, there's a couple of things that I've noticed. Number one is that people do not seek wisdom and understanding. They don't actively do things to become smarter and to become better. They don't read. They don't watch videos. They don't ask questions. They don't remain curious. They don't ask anybody anything. They just sort of drift, or they think they know it all, right? Like Epictetus said, it's impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows. People have been arrogant for thousands of years. People have been arrogant since the beginning. There's nothing new under the sun, right? Number two is that people do not seek improvement and they despise correction, right? They think that every move they make is the right one, right? Oh, well, the market's wrong. Well, you're wrong. I'm never wrong. Y'all ever met any of those people? Drop a 1 in the chat if you've met somebody like that before. They've never apologized. They've never admitted they were wrong. Whatever goes wrong is always someone else's fault. They never take accountability. They avoid accountability like the plague. They don't like correction. Used to be. I was probably that way at some point too. I'm pretty sure we all were. But we have to learn to we have to learn to love correction. So number 3 is what I've noticed. People seek fleeting pleasures, not good habits and values. People chase short-term things instead of long-term things. And then they wonder why they're not successful long-term. And number 4, people do not consider the long-term consequences of their actions. Do you remember we talked briefly about mental models? Do you guys remember that? And one of the mental models is second-order thinking. If I go long in a consolidation, what could take place? Well, we could consolidate more, or we could go higher or lower. That might be a low probability trade. If I take a low probability trade, that might mean that I'll lose, and I may not want to do that. So let me not do that. Right? Easy example, second order thinking. So what people don't do is go, well, if I never seek improvement, I'll never improve. And if I don't like where I'm at in life, which is most people, then this is where I'm going to stay. And they don't think like that. So what I was doing earlier is I was reading Proverbs. I was reading a little bit of Ecclesiastes, which I've shared these two books with you before. Now these are standalone books, all right, but they are part of the Bible, obviously, if you didn't know that, right? I have a few Bibles. They're like, you know, a couple thousand pages, but these two are standalone. And Ecclesiastes is the shorter one. Proverbs is a little bit longer. So a lot of good ideas can be found in Proverbs and in Ecclesiastes. Do you guys get that? And I think where people go wrong with the Bible is, number one, they don't read it. And number two, and I'm kind of in this boat too, there are certain things I'll read that I just don't understand. I don't get it. Or it's like such an old version and the language is structured in a way that I miss it. It just goes right over my head and I don't understand. Okay? Proverbs is not like that. Ecclesiastes maybe a little bit, but it's pretty straightforward. So what I ended up doing is I wrote down a little bit, and then I only started an hour before we started the stream, so I really didn't have a chance to write a lot. But what I ended up doing was writing Proverbs chapter 6, verse 6 through 11. Was good, Jordan. Was good, DJ. Twins, Harmon, anybody else that I missed earlier? Fernando, what's good? So that's what I'm going to share with you today. A couple. The Bible is all code. What does that even mean? I don't understand. So you're going to have to explain that one. But here's what I wrote down. Proverbs chapter 6, verse 6 through 11. Go to the ant, O sluggard. Consider her ways and be wise. Without having any chief, officer, or ruler, she prepares her bread in summer and gathers her food in harvest. How long will you lie there, O sluggard? Which I always think that always makes me smile because it's funny. When will you arise from your sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, and poverty will come upon you like a robber, and want like an armed man. The parables, understanding parables, that's the code. Well, Proverbs is pretty straightforward, honestly. It says, go to the ant and consider the ant's ways. Now, I've never sat there and watched ants before, but I know what they do. Sometimes they get on my car, and it's really annoying. And I don't even understand why they would walk all over my car. But the point is, at least given what this says, is that an ant, leaves its colony, and it goes out, and it doesn't have like a manager, apparently. And it goes and it does what it needs to do. It searches for food. It tries to find it, comes back to tell the other ants, all right, let's go get this bread. Right? And it's diligent. It works, like physically it works hard, right? And that's what we're supposed to do too. It gathers bread in summer and gathers food in harvest. It's planning ahead, bro. It's getting a bunch of food now, so we'll have some for later. It's preparing. It's methodical. That's good, Fernando. That is very good. A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, i.e. being lazy, right? And poverty will come upon you like a robber. It means if you don't work, you don't eat, bro. I think Moses might have said that too. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not a scholar or, a biblical expert here, but I'm pretty sure it's in the Bible multiple times. If you do not work, you do not eat, right? So what does that mean for us, bro? What does that mean for wisdom? It means we have to look for it, man. Reading is work. A lot of people think reading is boring, or I don't know, you think you got ADHD or something, and you want to do something else and you can't pay attention because you got TikTok brain. Right? But where do you think a lot of wisdom comes from? A lot of a lot of this stuff is thousands and thousands of years old. People were struggling thousands of years ago the same way people struggle today. And back then, they actually were smart and they wrote things down. You get me? Even without a 1/1000th of the technology we have today. They wrote these ideas down. The Jesus, the disciples, the Stoics, the philosophers, they all wrote their stuff down to pass, especially Seneca, to pass along to the future generations. The problem is we don't look for it. We don't want to read. Right? So if you don't seek wisdom, what do you stay? You stay a fool. If you don't learn to like, or at least tolerate at a minimum, correction as a trader, you're going to continue to take bad trades. You're going to continue to, let's say, short bullish markets, right? Not to call anybody out, right? But I think it was one of you yesterday that was trying to short this, right? Oh, that's a sweep of liquidity. It's not. Oh, we got a break of structure. Sure it is. And then what happened? You got your face ripped off. Right. Why? Well, number one, you forgot Wednesday's high was a data high. Number two, I told you we'd be going up there. You didn't listen, right? I'm not saying I'm the wisest trader. I'm not. I'm just, it's an easy example from yesterday, okay? You have to learn when you look at ranges as an example, just like I explained in the market review yesterday, our 730 news took us lower. We swept a bunch of lows already at our data release. So yeah, we do have a data low and we do have a data high, but we still have yesterday's data high or previous day data high. And that's why I said I think we're going up there. And of course we did, right? But that's also a little bit of experience too. I have more experience than probably all of you. I'd say at least most of you, right? And I'm trying to give you that insight, right? Sending out that tweet as well before 9 o'clock so you could understand that, hey, we're about to head into expansion. And if I'm telling you, hey, we're likely to head into expansion, that means don't short because you're going to get your face ripped off. Okay? Anyway, I don't know how we got here. Oh, that's right. Open for correction, right? And one of the things I told you, let's actually go back in here because I don't remember what time frame you posted. I don't know if it was a 1 minute or a 5. You know, I really don't know. I don't even know if it was Nasdaq. It might have been something else. But either way it goes, it's like the chart that you posted, right? It had something, a fair value gap or whatever. And it's like, oh, well, we got a sweep and a fair value gap. It's like, okay, that might be true, but you have to understand that what you're talking about is one of those TikTok strategies. And I've seen them. They've been around since they've been around for like 3 years now. There's a reason I don't teach you those. There's a reason I don't teach you those. They're trash. Oh, we're supposed to do this, and then it's going to do that. Trading is not that simple, and it's definitely not that easy. And I've been trying to tell you that. People come here and they say, oh, it's overcomplicated. It's not overcomplicated. And if you think it is, show me a better exit and show me a better entry. And you won't. I'm nailing the high of the day to the minute. You can't do that. So don't criticize, right? All right. Let's take it back a little bit. But you get what I'm saying though, right? You have to be open to learning, especially from somebody who knows what they're talking about. I don't know everything, Chad. I send you all over the place. I send you to T-Trades. I send you to a whole lot of books, right? A whole lot of stuff on this channel too, yes. But it's not all my stuff. You get that? Yeah, Jordan. Saw one of those reels on Instagram my friend sent me. I was like, bro, right, you think you're going to learn how to trade watching 30-second, 45-second videos? No one's ever came to me and said that. Yeah, John, I passed the combine. I got a withdrawal because of TikTok. Not a single person. Not one. How many followers do I have? There's like 10,000 subs here on YouTube, 8,000 on Instagram, a couple thousand on Facebook. Not a soul has ever told me that. You're putting your faith in things that do not work. Okay? And that goes way beyond trading, just so you know. Okay? You're putting your faith in things that do not work. And that is why you're getting cooked. Okay? So, let us continue. I don't know how much more. I don't think I have a whole lot more. That was pretty much it. So the other day, I had shared on my Insta. You know what? It might be gone by now. I definitely posted that burrito yesterday, which was fire, by the way. But I did share on my Instagram story Proverbs 8. Right, let me read this to you real quick. Again, if you have a Bible or if you have Proverbs, it's chapter 8, okay? It's titled, The Blessings of Wisdom. Does wisdom not call? Does not understanding raise her voice? On the heights beside the way, at the crossroads, she takes her stand. Beside the gates in front of the town, at the entrance of the portals, she cries aloud, quote, To you, O men, I call, and my cry is to the children of man. O simple ones, learn prudence. O fools, learn sense. Hear, for I speak noble things, and from my lips will come what is right, for my mouth will utter truth. Wickedness is an abomination to my lips. All the words of my mouth are righteous. There is nothing twisted or crooked in them. Clearly, this is the Bible and not me, right? Because I haven't cussed yet today on the stream at least, but we're doing pretty good so far. They are all straight to him who understands, and right to those who find knowledge. Take my instruction instead of silver, and knowledge rather than choice gold. For wisdom is better than jewels, and all that you may desire cannot compare with her. And it goes on a little bit more. But in short, wisdom is available. And wisdom is better, in this case, it says gold and silver, but it's money, it's wealth, right? Money and wealth is a byproduct of knowledge. Is at least my understanding. I could be wrong, but based on my own life, that's what I've seen. When I was stupid, right? And I didn't know what I was doing, when I didn't know how to trade, when I didn't know how to pick good investments, when I didn't have multiple streams of income, I was not wealthy, bro. But I had to learn. You get me? I shared on the next story. Same chapter, but on verse 17. I love those who love me, and those who seek me diligently find me. Riches and honor are with me, enduring wealth and righteousness. 17 and 18. So, and obviously my comment was, like I said yesterday, wisdom is out there. Are you willing to look? You guys have any questions so far? Do you have any questions so far? And they could be trading related too, but so far, with what we've discussed today, do you have any questions? Okay. The other day in our Discord, I had shared that everybody should have at least one book. It's not the Bible, but that if you're in our community, right? You're a part of the Smart Money Stoics community. You should have at minimum the Daily Stoic, right? This is one page every single day. One page every single day. And they have books like this, but that are based on the Bible if you want that too. Paul David Tripp has a good one. Calendar of Wisdom by Leo Tolstoy. That's a good one too. I've got a bunch of these. Okay. They're out there. The problem is people don't want to read and they don't want to seek things. And like I've already shared, Proverbs and Ecclesiastes. I got these on Amazon. They're like $5 a piece because you can take notes in here too. Right? I know a lot of you come to this YouTube channel, or you probably watch a bunch of other YouTubers as well, because you're actively seeking knowledge. You're learning how to trade, or you're learning better risk management, or you're learning better psychology. How can I hold trades? How can I be more patient? You know, XYZ. Right? But that's my question to you. Do you look? And even if you were to look, how do you react or how do you respond when you come across an idea that you don't like? Let me read you a little bit of Ecclesiastes. At least what I think is relevant to this conversation. Here's a good one. I think this is chapter 4. Yeah, chapter 4, verse 13. Better was a poor and wise youth than an old and foolish king who no longer knew how to take advice. Can I make a list of books? I probably should. You could also follow my book page on Instagram at The Wall Shelf. You could probably do that too. But so far today, all I've talked about was Proverbs, Ecclesiastes. I know it's hard to spell. Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes. And The Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday and Stephen Hanselman. I don't know what chapter this is. Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 5. It is better for a man to hear the rebuke of the wise than to hear the song of fools. That means it's better to listen to people who know what they're talking about than it is to try and always find things that you agree with and only stick to that. Or to listen to somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about because it feels good or it sounds good. A lot of people share things that sound good, but it's stupid. Like, dude, I've made a video on that. It's literally called, I forgot what it's called, but it's something like the dumbest tweets on Twitter or something, where it's like, oh, dude, I saw a guy the other day. He posted, he's like, he's talking about this week's price action. He said, this type of week shows you that models don't matter. It's all about risk management. That's one of the stupidest things I've heard in a while. Now, he's partly correct in the idea that it is about risk management. I'm not arguing that. But to say that models don't matter, that is straight retard, bro. That is straight foolishness. No. What are you talking about? And what's crazy is that all of these people have like just a ton of followers. You know what I mean? That's wild to me. But it's like, dude, remember yesterday? That was at 8 o'clock. At 8, I think it was 58 or 59, something like that. I tweeted right at the end, right at the tail end of 8 o'clock. I hinted we'd be going higher. 9 a.m. sees expansion. 10 a.m. sees expansion up to the 40, I think it was 40 or 41, something like that. That was, right, boom. That's sticking to the model. What do you mean models don't matter? That's stupid. Stupid. And that baffles me, bro, because people will actually believe that. Whole bunch of likes, whole bunch of shares, whole bunch of retweets and stuff. It's crazy the amount of bad information that's out there. There's no algorithm. Right? Like, oh, man. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff here, but some of it may not relate to what it is that we're talking about here. But all I'm saying, at the end of the day, I've spoken for the last 30, 35 minutes. At the end of the day, discernment of information is a skill set nowadays. No, it is. Bible talks about that too. I don't know where. Listen, I told you, I'm not an expert on everything biblical. You know what I mean? I don't know how many verses the Bible has. It's quite a bit. But it talks about discernment in here too. But discernment comes with wisdom. You know what I'm saying? You have to know, in order to discern something, you have to know both sides of it. How do you know if something is good or bad or indifferent? Well, you would need to know all the aspects. It's kind of like money, right? Oh, money is this, money is that. Money is indifferent. It's just a tangible means of exchange. It's probably better to have it than to not have it. Sure. But you could do good with money. You could do bad things with money too. Or money could just sit in your bank account and eat away at inflation and just sit there and do nothing. You know what I mean? But I've learned discernment, at least in trading, to a very high extent by obviously knowing how to trade well. And now that I have been at this point, I look at things on Twitter, and let's say 10 years ago, I would have ate that stuff up. Oh yeah, man, these models don't work anymore. You know, I would have just agreed with a lot of people, because I would have just said, oh, well, the justification is, well, they've been on Twitter for a while, you know, and I'm young, I don't really know anything, and apparently if they're sharing information, they know what they're talking about. Boy, was I wrong. I would have been so wrong. I realized in due time, of course, that most people have no idea what they're talking about. There's educators out here, they don't even know what they believe. Their beliefs are constantly changing. Well, the algorithm is this. Oh, well, there is no algorithm. Oh, well, it's supply and demand. Oh, well, it's also an algorithm. How does that make sense? How can it be supply and demand and have an algorithm? That makes no sense. Which one is it? It can't be both. You know what I mean? But yet people are out here giving advice. Trying to, you know, be a leader and stuff. You don't even know what you believe. And yet you're trying to lead other people. That's crazy. That's sheep leading sheep, dog. That's crazy to me. The Creature of Jekyll Island, I believe, is what you're referring to. No, I have not read that one. But I have heard good things about it. It was on my list. You know why I don't have it? I can tell you why. I can tell you exactly why I don't have it. It's because it's 608 pages. That's why. Because that is a very long book. The Creature from Jekyll Island, A Second Look at the Federal Reserve is what it's called. That's why I never bought it. It has really good reviews. Super good reviews, but bro, 600 pages. I mean, Dog. That's a lot. That's a lot to read. That's not something that I can just read in like a week. Okay, 600 pages, dog. That would take a long time. Probably at least like 2 months. I'm thinking. It's hard. It's hard for me to stay focused on one subject for that long. And that's why I read books simultaneously. Because I can only read on, you know, how to take better notes for like an hour before I have to read something else. You know what I mean? It's the same way with music. I don't know if I told you guys that. I love listening to music. I listen to music all day, every day. But I can't listen. I mean, I can, but I choose not to listen to the same type of music for more than like an hour, maybe two, because it just gets muddy and it sounds like I need a change of pace. So I'll go to rap or classical, or I'll switch it up because it's the same subject for too long. I lose interest, which is why I don't stream for more than an hour and a half at the most, because I know most people will not rewatch that, and the attention span just goes to other places. You start getting hungry, thinking about what you want to eat, or you go to TikTok or whatever. You know what I mean? So it's hard for me to read 600, 700 page books. People will defend the wrong information just to seem right. It's the worst. It's a vicious cycle. Right. You got traders that can't nail the high of the day to the minute like I can. I've literally, how many times have I done it for you in the last 2 months? Like 4, maybe 5 times. And you have traders out here that have never done it. But yet I've done it 4 or 5 times in the last couple months. But sure, there's no algorithm. Sure, it doesn't exist. If the markets were not driven by an algorithm, tell me how I can keep nailing the high and low of the day. High or low of the day, I should say. How? How do I keep doing it then? There's no way somebody's that consistently lucky. There's no way. It's statistically impossible. So that's why I always say it's just my opinion. You can listen to whoever you want to listen to. You can believe whatever you want. Matters not to me. It's your life. It's your trading career. You do what you want. It's out of my control. Fernando, meaning like once liquidity is absorbed, okay? Here, I'll stay on the same chart because I think I mentioned this a little bit earlier. This is in a liquidity video, which I put out years ago, okay, and I talk about this all the time. Previous day's low and previous day high are going to have liquidity there, okay? You're going to have buy side at the previous day's high. You're going to have sell side at previous day's low. The market, the following day, it doesn't have to go to either high or low, but most of the time it's going to go to one of them, right? Anybody who holds overnight, they are likely to have their stops at previous day's low, previous day's high. Now, when previous day's high also, let's say, is included with a data high, or maybe you have equal highs or something, low resistant highs, then that becomes more probable that that is where we are going to go. Okay? The algorithm will take price. It will just take it and move it. Okay? Like that's literally what it's doing. This is the price, 920. Okay, now it's 921. Now it's 9, so on and so forth. And it's repricing up to a level of liquidity. It's going to be the same thing for today. If you remember in last night's market review, I told you these highs right here. Like, I'm surprised we didn't take that, right? What do you think we took today? All of that. Beyond that, right? But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Liquidity, okay, at 7:30, because I'm pretty sure that's when this news was, right? At 7:30, you may have manual manipulation. at news. Okay. I don't know how to confirm whether it's manual or algorithmic. Okay. I have no way of discerning that. Okay. But what I do know, as I've said time and time again, is that the algorithm refers to price levels as it relates to time. Okay. So that low's like midnight almost, and that's like a Asia low. And that is our opening. That's our overnight gap, rather, right? So we have some lows from Asia, right? That's a liquidity pool based on a specific time window. It's Asia's low. The algorithm looks at that and goes, hey, you know what? There's some lows over here. They might even be equal. That one might be slightly lower. Right here. That one might be slightly lower. Now, that's still fine. Okay. That one tick or 1 point lower does not constitute a liquidity sweep to me. There's still going to be liquidity there because most people will still look at that like a double bottom. Okay. So in, what was it, London, leading up to news, rallies. So someone is in open profit. Whoever's long is in open profit. So their stop is going to go to recent lows or the recent lows down here. Okay. So the algorithm is going to reference that in relevant to time and go, okay, there's liquidity here and here. Yoink. Once that liquidity has been absorbed, it should not go back down to that low. To me, it really shouldn't even go back to the whatever the lowest low is. Like technically it'd be this one. I don't think the market should trade back down here, personally. Liquidity has been absorbed. So the algorithm now knows, okay, well, we've taken multiple pools of liquidity. And now we still have, like I told you, in advance, ahead of time, unlike a lot of mentors who don't do it for free, right? That we still had the data high. And I know with a high degree of confidence and a high degree of certainty, it's not 100%, but we are more likely to trade higher than we are to trade lower. Does that make sense? The algorithm, or maybe this was manual. Again, I don't know. Okay. I don't have people I can call or email about the things that I'm teaching you. You get me? So it's just a simple logic. We are more likely to go higher than we are to go lower. The market is going to reprice higher. Okay. And then on top of that, I really saved a lot of this stuff for the market review, but you know, I feel like blessing people, dog. I feel like I know a lot of stuff and I love giving this out. Okay. I've told you time and time again that 50% levels can be a discount if you're bullish or a discount if you're bearish. Right? Do you remember that tweet, dog? Do y'all remember that? Drop some, I don't know what number we're on. 2. Drop some 2s in the chat if you guys remember that. This was not that long ago. Here, let me see if I can I'll post this one real quick. It may not show up here. Yeah, it's gonna go way over there. Instead of like the live price that we're at. We'll throw that one on there. September the 3rd. Okay, watch this. Okay. Look at this. Back in September. Oh, it is September. September 3rd, 50% can be a discount or a premium. Though a strong asset, yada, yada, yada. Okay. But the whole point is 50% can be a discount or a premium. September 3rd. Right? Now watch this. And then on the 5th, I said what I said about build liquidity, seek opposing liquidity, then come back for the previous build up. Happens all the time, right? That's all in advance. Now, when you look at this, right? Actually, give me a second. Let me put these on so we can all see this stuff at the same time. Right? Watch this. If you know this, okay? If you know the things that I tell you, that I teach to you for free, right? For free, chat. For the free. Right? Build liquidity, data high. Seek opposing liquidity. We did trade lower. We don't really take like a specific pool here. That's okay. That's okay. But we built liquidity here. Then we probably created some sell side for sure. But now we're in the range, right? We're within the range. This right here, seek opposing liquidity. We had buy side up here. This is sell side. So we took sell side. What should we seek? Buy side. Boom. Look at that. You already know how to trade. You already know how to predict, not react. Predict. That's what we do here. We predict. We do not react. This is prediction. I'm telling you how to do it. I'm literally giving you the blueprint. Build liquidity. Data high. Seek opposing. If we have buy side, we need to seek sell side. News did it the following day. Then come back for the previous buildup. What are we coming back for? The previous buildup. Oh my God. That's so hard. 50% can be a discount or a premium. What's that right there? What is that? Right there. Hello. That is 50% after the market took sell side, and we should seek buy side. What made the low? After news. The 50% level. Which you knew that. You knew that. I can't do math. Today's the 12th. You knew that 9 days ago. 9 days ago, you knew that 50% can be a premium or a discount. It can be a discount if you're bullish. So, we took sell side, have opposing buy side. 50% was a discount. So, what should we seek? Higher pricing. And that's exactly why I tweeted that too. Do you guys get that? I could be a douchebag, more so, and just tweet before it happens and never tell you why. I could sit here, not every single day, but a lot of days, I could just come on here and do stuff like this. I could tweet. That makes me look like it's at the low, but it's not. Okay, I could come in here on Twitter. I could go into a Discord. I can go into somebody's house and do this. I'm not here to rob you. I'm here to make money with you. Go get on your computer, log in, and let's buy ES, right? I could come in here and tell you where the market's going to go before it goes there and never tell you how I'm able to do it. I would be a douchebag. You already know. Look at this. You already know. There's at least one formula. There's at least one idea. And those same things are panning out days, weeks, and pretty much infinitely after I tell you. Like I said, dog, wisdom is out there. That's biblical. You just have to look for it. And I'm giving it to you. Literally, I'm handing it out, dog. Like it's a free lunch. You know what I'm saying? For the homeless. We're just giving stuff out. I'm literally giving it to you. I mean, is that not cool, bro? I'm not trying to seek your validation or anything. I'm just saying, like, September 3rd, September 5th. Today's the 12th, bro. And this stuff is still working. If it was supply and demand, and this was all just randomized events, then the stuff that I talk about would not hold weight. The foundation would be on sand, and my ideas would crumble before your own eyes, like they do sometimes. I think I was bullish on Wednesday and we went lower. I got it wrong, right? But you see the ratio here. You see that I get it right quite a bit. And I do get it wrong sometimes. Because I'm human. I might rush things. I might be lazy. You know, there's going to be times where I'm just wrong. Okay? I don't have a way to eliminate being wrong altogether without just not trading. You want to never be wrong? Never take a trade. Can't be wrong if you can't trade. But you won't make money either. So as much as I would like to eliminate losses, I can't. But what I am doing is I'm sticking to sound principles and sound logic that works. The evidence is overwhelming. I talked about that too. How many times do I have to tweet before the move? How many times do I have to nail the high of the day or sometimes the low of the day? How many times do I need to do it? Over and over and over and over again. And people will still look at this and say it's too complicated. They say it doesn't work. They're going to stick to the tools they want to use. Well, I need this scanner. I need this, you know, tool. I got to look at volume or whatever the other volume is, the level 2 shit stuff. Oh man, I cussed right here at the end. I almost made it, chat. We almost made it. A full stream. That's pretty good. We almost made it. I made it a little over an hour. That's a new record. That's a new record, which is cool. But anyway, see, when I get ego's the enemy, chat. When you get into the ego stuff, that's when you start to slip. So living proof, chat. Living proof. But all right, so with that, we'll go ahead. We'll shut it down. I don't know what else to tell you, man. I don't know what else to tell you. If there's one thing that I would never want you to do is never stop learning. Okay? Even if you cancel your membership, even if you never become a member, even if you unfollow me on Instagram and all my social media, you just say, F this guy, I never want to listen to him again. Fine. But whatever you do, continue to read, continue to learn, continue to ask questions, and remain curious and be open for interpretation. You get me? Right. Progress, not perfection. I agree. So hopefully, Fernando, that answered your question earlier. The algorithm is going to take price and it's going to reprice it higher. That's why we talk about buy programs and sell programs. And that's why I use that verbiage specifically. It is a repricing. It reprices higher. It has nothing to do with buyers. It has nothing to do with sellers. It has nothing to do with buying and selling pressure. That stuff is nonsense. Okay? Nonsensical. Nonsense. That's what it is. All right? You may hold on to those ideas. If it works for you, go for it. But you can't show me a better trade. If you could, you would. You know what I mean? So that's all I'm going to say. Y'all be good. Be blessed. Have a good weekend. We'll be here same time, same place on Monday, September 15th. Go read a book. Go take notes. Go watch the market reviews. Do something productive. And I'll see you Monday.
Если бы слезы твои были водой, ты уже напоишь.